Go check out this new donut place that opened in Oswego. So I was like pretty excited. It's called Tim Hortons. It's pretty famous in Canada. So so we're heading over there, and I'm really excited because everybody loves donuts. So I guess their coffee's pretty good. So and their hot cocoa is really good. So I wanted to have one of those. So my friend Tim and I, we go over and we cross the bridge, and we're driving up to, and the sign's on and everything. And we pull into the parking lot, and this place is known to be open 24 hours a day. Well, the place is like pitch black. There's no cars in the parking lot. And I'm like, Tim, I don't think they're open. And ironically, the only sign that was on in the whole building was, we're open 24 hours a day for your convenience. So I was like, oh. So we never got any donuts or coffee or hot cocoa that night, but we went a couple nights later, and it was pretty good. Like, I really enjoyed it. So, but I was like, you never can believe those signs that people have up in their windows or anything. And I was just like, and it was the brightest sign in the whole place. And it was like, oh, we're open 24 hours a day. So never got a donut, so.
I haven't been to a shop that's ever had that, but I heard about some shops that they have open 7 days a week, and then at the bottom it says Sundays too. So I've heard some stuff like that, but not too familiar.
That's funny.
We are talking with Eric Vaughn from the Career Development Office, a little bit about himself and a little bit about the Career Development Office itself and how it can help you out. Do you travel much at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, it's one of my favorite things to do. And since I've moved to Nebraska, I've actually done 4 trips since I've moved here. And my first one, I actually drove out here with a friend, and we did it in about 3 days, and that was pretty exciting. But my first trip, once I started here at Doane, was to during the fall break that we have, that long weekend. Mm-hmm. I actually got to go to Colorado for a long weekend and see my friends that live in south of Denver. So that was really nice. They live near Colorado Springs. And I got to go to, during Thanksgiving, I got to go see my sister in Seattle. And one of my highlights of that trip was I actually went down to Portland, Oregon, where my aunt and uncle live. Never been to their house, so I got to go visit them. Never been to Oregon. But I also, while I was there, went to see I don't know if you know the show on TLC, Little People, Big World. Oh, yeah. I went and saw the entrance to their farm. Oh, yeah. I watched their show. But then I've always wanted to go because one of my favorite movies of all time is The Goonies. So
The Goonies. The Goonies.
So I got to go to Astoria, where many different films have been filmed there, including Kindergarten Cop and The Goonies. And I actually got to see the house, the White House on the hill that Mikey lived in, from The Goonies, and went to see Haystack Rock, which is about 30 minutes from Astoria, right on the ocean, which was beautiful. And so that was one of my, I've always wanted to go there, and I got to see I don't know if you remember if you've seen the movie before, but where Chunk smashes his pizza and his milkshake to the window. I actually got to see that window, so it was pretty cool. So.
How many of the states have you been to?
I've been to 25 so far of the 50. My goal is to see all 50. And I'm actually, this summer, I've never been to South Dakota, so one of my goals is to go to Mount Rushmore this summer and maybe go to Wyoming and Kansas. So.
Now, when do you want to reach going all of these 50 states?
Throughout my lifetime, so I've got some time. One of my goals, I really want to go to Alaska someday. I'd like to go on a cruise and see that area. Oh, yeah. And the other place I got to see twice this past year was California. And that was my first time going there. So I've got to see pretty much everything on the West Coast except for Hawaii and for Alaska.
Now, what other kind of hobbies do you have?
Well, I'm really, one of my fun things, I love history, and I love finding out more about my family and where we've been. And I've learned a lot about my family through genealogy. And I'm kind of the family historian for my grandparents' side of the family. So I've done quite a bit of research, and I love going places. And part of my family's from Nebraska. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to come here, to one, to experience the area, but also to do some research and to travel and see some of the area before in my lifetime. So.
Now, getting back to the career development office, if a student wants to get a job somewhere, what is the process?
Well, if a student wants to get a job, what I really encourage them to do is come in. Let's look at your resume if I haven't sat down with you yet, because you need to have a really strong resume before you get a job. So we sit down, we talk about that. We also look at what types of jobs and where you want to search. And we have a couple different avenues that a student can go. One, we have a new program online that's called Job Zone, where students can look for potential jobs. We have employers in the area that register their jobs on this website. We also post jobs on this website. Excuse me. We also post jobs in the weekly newsletter. So anything I get through the web, or through email, I try to put on there. But we encourage them to come in, make an appointment, sit down, let's look at your resume. Let's look at maybe developing a cover letter if you've never done one of those before. So actually looking at a particular job, and let's apply for it. If that's what you want to do, let's apply for that job, and we'll go from point A to the end. But I tell them that it doesn't stop after that one letter. You need to continue to look, you need to continue writing letters. But hopefully, being a one-person office, I want to be able to provide as much to each student as I can. But sometimes after after we've met a few times, it's up to them to keep going with the whole process. And I'm always willing to look at letters, cover letters, and resumes to make sure that they're the best that our students can provide. I also encourage you to work with your faculty and get recommendations. But a lot of things are done by word of mouth today. So you're not going to find every job online or in the newspaper. A lot of employers don't post them online. So you have to go to their websites and do some research, and even just go out there and apply to a company and say, hey, do you have any positions opening? I really encourage them to contact their HR department, or look at their HR website for a particular company, especially the big ones, because they'll have all their jobs listed there.
What kind of help can students get from from students who've already graduated?
They can also contact the office. We're going to help you even as alum. One program that we're actually working on starting is a program for alumni to help undergraduate students, but also to help alumni. And that program is called ASK, which is Alumni Sharing Knowledge. And it's just in its infancy. We're starting to, I worked with the OCM department here to write an article in the upcoming alumni magazine to engage our alumni to get involved in this program. And hopefully down the road, this will open up some opportunities for us to even get more internships and jobs available to our current Doane students and our Doane alum. So I'm hoping that this program will help. Doane alum can contact the office and sign up for Job Zone, and I'll help them with their resume and cover letter. But overall, my primary goal is to really help our current students, but I'm always willing to help a Doane alum also.
Now, the two events that you have coming up at the end of February, again, is the Etiquette Dinner on February 26th.
Correct.
And the mock interview workshop on the 25th. What kind of results are you expecting from those?
I'm hoping that we get a good turnout at both. I think the one thing that students, some students have expressed to me that they're scared about is actually going in and doing that first interview. And we've actually have the vice presidents from Doane helping with the event, and I'm actually going to be contacting some alum and some employers to come in. But to be able to ask or do an actual interview for a potential position, it'll be a mock position, but to actually get some experience on how to answer questions, how you should react during the interview. It's okay to take your time, and that's why employers aren't expecting you to know the answer instantaneously. So taking your time, giving the best answer possible. I talk with students about, if they ask you a question, always give it an example of something that you've done, and to demonstrate the question, to demonstrate your knowledge of the question. So I also encourage them to share their questions during the interview. So always to come in with questions that they may have to ask the employer, because employers are really, it's a two-way street. Like during an interview, they're interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them. So I really want to get students involved in that. I'm hoping the etiquette dinner will help with the fact that students can feel comfortable if they're asked to go out to dinner or for lunch. A lot of interviews, every interview I've ever been on, I've gone out to lunch or to dinner with the employer. So a lot of companies and businesses and educational institutions will take you out for some sort of meal. So acting appropriately